And thank you for everyone joining us here today for our webinar. In terms of the format, I'm going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation, a little bit of demonstration, and then we'll actually be looking at an ROI calculator spreadsheet during the session. And then we can also make that calculator available to any of our attendees so you can use it to apply to your own work in your own facility. Just a couple of slides about Hagerman & Company for those of you who might not be familiar with us before we get in too deep. We've been around for over 37 years now under steady ownership and management that entire time. As you can see, we have offices throughout the United States, so we cover the whole United States, also elsewhere North America, and really globally. So we've really become a global supplier of services in the document and data management industry, which we've been doing for, I think it's more up to about 26 years now. We've been doing this, and we've done well over 1,200 successful customer projects. We've got a wealth of experience here on board. And then we have different focus teams for different industries between discrete manufacturing, campus facilities, and industrial facilities. My particular niche is in the industrial facilities area. Now we handle multiple different systems. So from a pre-sale standpoint, we try to work with each particular customer to help them determine which of the solutions you see here is going to be the best fit for them. And you'll see just a tiny bit of each one of them here today. And then post-sale, of course, we do all implementation and support for any of these systems. And just some of our customers, mostly in the industrial plant area. You can see a wide variety of industries within plant and facilities, and then kind of a who's who of customers that are out there. And within all of those, we really see kind of the same key needs over and over again in terms of, just needing good general document management capabilities, check in, check out, revision history, enhanced security, and then above and beyond that, of course, these are industries that use CAD internally or need to manage CAD files received externally. So need a system that is very good with viewing and managing and integrating with CAD. And then also most of these industries operate 24/7. So when there's a maintenance or an operational issue at 2 o'clock Sunday morning, need a system to be able to quickly find the information and get the work done. Also, industries we typically work with do a lot of capital projects, which can be months or years in the doing. So need a good system that can separate the current masters or as-built from project copies, but keep them linked together, be able to have the same current master assigned to multiple overlapping or concurrent projects, and be able to track all those relationships, and then automate the handover when a project is completed, which then, of course, ties into collaborating with any outside parties who our customer may be working with on a project, whether that be an engineering firm, construction company, equipment provider, and so on. Now, in the session today, we're really going to concentrate on 6 ways that an engineering document management system will really give you a financial return on investment. So not just having nice features, but really how does that turn into the cash for your business. And so the items we're going to focus on here is just finding files. It's the search and retrieve, reducing facility downtime, improving and streamlining project completion and handover, safeguarding your intellectual property, streamlining compliance, which is a big thing, especially when you get into industries like utilities, chemicals, pharmaceutical, and then better enabling collaboration with outside parties. We'll see a little bit of demonstration on some of these features, and then we'll just do a bit of ROI analysis as well. And then also one thing we want to talk about here, just for everybody to keep in mind as we're moving through things, the need just isn't to manage CAD files. So a lot of, think in terms of CAD integration for an engineering document management system. But, there's a whole lot of other engineering and maintenance and operations related files you may need to manage and retrieve, like scanned paper drawings. You got older paper drawings that have been scanned, equipment manuals, operating procedures, inspection reports, environmental health and safety documents, other safety reports, supplier reports, photographs of equipment, any or all documents related to an ongoing engineering or capital project, and then also emails related to projects or otherwise. So there's a whole lot of files you need to manage, not just drawings. And so then, finding those files, probably a lot of you on here are already very familiar with how an engineering document management system can work and all the search and retrieve capabilities. So I'm really not going to go through demonstration on this, but just kind of reiterate, what are the capabilities? So any document or drawing you've got in the system, you can try properties to it, such as building, area, discipline, supplier, equipment number, and then be able to search and retrieve by any of those properties, or be able to search and retrieve just from any text that's inside those drawings or documents. Also be able to index and search on information out of drawing title blocks or file properties. The systems we offer have the ability to merge in the above metadata from any existing data sources you've got, like spreadsheets, databases, and so on, so they can become search properties for those drawings and documents. And then searches you use over and over again can be saved, so there's a single click. You can mark documents as favorites. You can go back to recently used documents, because chances are the next document you want to see is you probably looked at it recently as part of a project or something you're working on. Also, the systems have the ability to easily browse and filter folders and files, easy to use search forms, and then also with the searching in the system, you're always ensured when you find the file that you're getting the correct and latest revision. So then if we take a quick look at what an ROI might look like for that, just hypothetically, say for instance your facility has 100 employees needing regular access to documents. They're each working 40 hours a week, and they spend on average currently, with your current systems and processes, 5% of their time searching for files and data. Now, industry surveys, there's a lot of them out there that show 20 to 30% of employees' time is spent searching for or retrieving information, and that would actually include, their time where they're traveling around the facility to and from the information source, whether that's a file cabinet, a computer, or a person. So, to me, 20 to 30% may be kind of high, so I'm trying to be just very conservative here. And let's say with a good engineering document management system in place, that cuts the time in half. So then, that's saving like 400 hours a month, and that at $100 an hour, that's actually saving almost $500,000 annually in employee costs and improved efficiency. So finding files faster is really a huge ROI area. And then you can see here, we've got a value for year one, and throughout our spreadsheet, we'll see escalators for inflation in our calculations. The next item is reducing facility downtime. And of course, document-related facility downtime can be a result of suppliers getting incorrect files, internal staff grabbing incorrect files to do work, either maintenance or installation or construction. Again, can go back to the search time, take long to find stuff, or files get lost or deleted. Where with the engineering document control systems that we have, you can nearly eliminate files getting lost or deleted through the granular permissions you can do, or can relate to somebody using an outdated file revision or not following proper review and approval procedures. So if we look at an ROI for that, that's a different calculation than search time. So just say, for instance, in any given year, you have your facility has a 10% risk of having a shutdown or outage or mishap due to poor document control. And on average, a shutdown, so it'd be, an outage or a mishap might be lower value. A shutdown, that's going to have a huge value. And so we've got a total annual risk calculated. And then if we were to say that having a good engineering and maintenance document system in place, you're reducing that risk by 75%. So we can see an estimated annual savings for that factor. Now, improving project completion. This is something a lot of people don't look at. A lot of times for a facility document management system, people are looking at it more for managing and controlling and finding their as-built. A couple of systems we handle are very good at managing project files and keeping them linked to your masters. So ways a system can help you improve project completion is more easily to find and gather all of the files for a project, and then be able to track all your current masters or as-built and what active or past project copies are related to them. Be able to compare changes between project copies, route files through their proper workflows within a project, either internal or external, and reviews and approvals. Give everyone emails, notifications when there's something they need to do, so things keep moving more quickly. Be able to perform online review and markups of documents instead of having to print out hard copies, do hard copy markup, which all that printing takes time, and just handling the paper takes time, and then automate the handover of new or updated files. Meridian, one of the systems we handle, it does have an online view and markup, but also version compare. So here's the capability where I picked this particular file, CTD EA 17. I said, okay, let's look at Rev 0. Then I click, and I can see Rev 1, and then I can click and see the difference. So when you're comparing multiple different versions of a file from different projects in order to merge those changes together, you can see what's the same. You can see it color-coded with black, red, and green, what was unchanged between the files, what was deleted, and what was added to make merging those changes between project copies much easier. Or I'll show a bit of a demonstration of this where the systems we have capabilities to have a folder structure in the system for a separate folder structure for your as-built or masters or release copies, whatever name you go by. And so all of your operations and maintenance staff, they have access to that folder area. But then also in the same system, have a project folders area. So when you gather files for a project, be able to, I'm just doing an example with one file here, get that file and then say, create a linked copy in the project area, which your operations and maintenance staff can't see. Then within the context of the project, that file would go through its workflow where it can be accessed by your internal or external editors, reviewers, and approvers. And then when a project is complete, the new as-build has been done, be able to select the individual file or the entire batch of files for the project and say update parent copy, and then automatically hand it over, and all of the linked as-built are then updated to Rev B or whatever the next Rev is in a single command. And then also be able to handle overlapping projects within the context of a facility. So here we've got this larger project going on, probably may take years, and then a subset of the drawings get assigned to a short-term project, and then be able to manage and track each of those files and what concurrent projects they're associated with. If we take a look at that in action a little bit, let me jump over here to Meridian. So here in my Meridian system, you can see I've got it set up with a masters area, or could be called released or as-built or whatever you call it, and then a projects area. And in my masters area, I've got my files organized by the region, the particular plant, by discipline, category, and you can organize the files however you want. Of course, use all your your browsing and searching methods to find the files you need to assign to a project and be able to select them. And of course, you can do this multiple times as you're gathering the files for a project. And then when you need to change, don't need to check these out or put them in under change in their masters area, because that could cause confusion and issues. Be able to say create project copy. So we'll create project copies of all of these files, and you can have whatever logical folder structure you want under the projects area, and it makes linked replicas down here in the projects area. And down under projects, we have copies of each of these files, and then you can see here's my project copy linked to this master, and this master could have multiple concurrent project copies. Then here, this is where we would then send the files out to our supplier, put them under a workflow change here, go through reviews and approvals, and then open them into AutoCAD in this case to do our editing, whatever you need to do, make changes. And then when these are updated as new as-built, you would simply say, I haven't done anything, so this command is dimmed out, releases master revision, and it's going to follow each file's link back to their master, and then hand over or update each one of them, bump the rev, thinks out how your masters and your project copies can be kept separate but be linked, and then automatically update between them as needed. And then you can very much control exactly who can do each of these particular functions. And so if we looked at an ROI for that, let's say, for instance, your facility does 12 capital projects a year and takes about 40 hours, at project startup to gather and organize everything, and then 40 hours at the end to do project handover. And of course, this is ignoring all of those. This is just the startup and the handover efficiency being improved. It's ignoring all of the other efficiencies you can get from an engineering document management system throughout the rest of the course of the project. And then let's say, having, kind of the features and capabilities you just saw there reduces that time by 50%, $100 an hour per person. And, in this case, looking about a $48,000 per year annual savings. Safeguarding your intellectual property. And unfortunately, this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And just some statistics out there. Cybercrime, this is cybercrime as a whole, expected to cost the world $6 trillion in 2021. Just narrowing down to IP theft in the U.S., that's now estimated about $600 billion a year. And as of a couple of years ago, 20% of U.S. companies have had intellectual property stolen. And unfortunately, that's growing rapidly. So how an engineering document management system can help with that. If your files are in a document management system on your server, in most cases, that file structure and file names are encrypted, so somebody coming into the server can't really see what they're looking at in terms from an organizational standpoint. Also, you can much better granularly control what people can do, being able to copy files out and that kind of thing. And then also audit trails. Audit trails don't prevent things. Well, I guess they can prevent things in that if I, as a user, do something, whatever I do is in that audit trail. So if I'm hijacking files, that record is going to be in the audit trail, which can be monitored. And then some of the systems have built-in reports, to pinpoint unusual activity. So we take a look at that. Just a couple of things here in Adept, for example. If I go to any file in Adept, so I pick this file. Right now I'm looking at the version history. But if I go over to any file's audit trail tab, I can see everything that's happened with that file. Who viewed it and when did they do it? We're not seeing, the system administrator is me. Normally you're going to see user names, like you can see Adam Armstrong here. So you can see whenever that file was viewed, copied, checked in, checked out, whatever touch happened to that file is in the audit trail. In this case, the audit trail can be printed out. It can actually go back into the archive, saved out as a text document. It can also be filtered by looking for certain types of events. Or I can go to the system audit trail, and the system audit trail, I can filter things by, I can get the whole audit trail. I can filter it by type of command, specific command, what any individual user did, and then what particular folder. These are my folders. So I can filter it by folder area and by date, and then hit OK, and it will just give me a report filtered down like that. So if we look at a hypothetical return on investment for that, let's say you've estimated your company has a 10% estimated annual risk of an IP theft happening. And the value of that IP, and if you think about, your company and then all your external suppliers have spent all these thousands of hours creating these drawings. Of course, there's different ways to value your intellectual property. The cost that went into to create it, the impact it would have to you if it did get stolen. But say estimate the average cost if an IP theft did happen, and then having a system in place with better security and audit trails, how much would it make that risk go down? And you can see we've estimated an annual savings with an engineering document management system of $50,000 per year. Streamlining compliance. Again, this is getting to be a bigger and bigger deal, and you can see here all the different industry compliance, well, this isn't all of them, that your organization might have to adhere to. And of course, compliance is much bigger when you get into industries like pharmaceutical, chemicals, utilities, and so on. And then you can look at some of the increasing costs within those and other industries. You can see average cost of a non-compliant situation within a site or a company is now up to $14.8 million, which is 45% higher than 10 years ago. The average cost to manage compliance for a large company, $5.5 million. Again, about a same increase. And these costs can include, data security, compliance platforms, incident response, audit, and so on. And when you get into like those three industries I mentioned, annual compliance costs can be up to about 25% of a company's operating expenses. So some of the compliance-related features within some of the systems we offer, the controlled workflow, so you verified that all changes got routed through the proper people and the proper procedures. Some of the systems we handle, and this is required in some industries, is when somebody approves a document, it prompts them for a password. So if I'm logged into my computer and walk away, you can verify nobody else sat down at my computer and approved that document, because every approval requires the password for that person. So our systems can handle that compliance. And then electronic signatures. So here, controlled and non-editable electronic signature information can be embedded into drawings and documents, which is a typical need for compliance. When drawings or documents are printed out, they can be watermarked as needed. Again, another typical required feature. And then, of course, like I saw before, the audit trail is there. And so if we look at an ROI on that, what that might look like, a couple different ways: reducing risk, and then streamlining processes in order to cut compliance costs. Let's say you've deemed that your organization has a 15% annual risk of non-compliance situation. The average cost of that situation would be a couple $1 million. And just being very conservative, we're not going to say one of our systems is just a magic wand. So say it reduces your risk by 15%. And then compliance costs, again, the system, you may not be putting in Vault, Meridian, or Adept for your whole organ, cover everything. So let's say, $500,000 annual cost to maintain compliance and just a 10% efficiency gain. So just with those very conservative numbers, you can see can really get a large savings in compliance costs, if you're in an industry where you have a lot of those types of regulations. Improving supplier collaboration, and there's a lot of ways to look at this from an ROI standpoint or features and benefits. So obviously, one key to supplier collaboration is just making sure you're getting the correct info out to them. The correct files, the correct revision of each file, and then getting all of the needed files and information, especially if you're in CAD, if you're dealing with XREF and hybrid raster vector files and those kinds of things. The systems we offer, and I'll show you a bit of this in a little bit, is automating transmittal packages. So it can automatically create an outgoing transmittal, including generating a transmittal report, automatically grabbing all of the like XREFs, PDF renditions, or actually creating the PDF renditions on demand as you're generating the transmittal, zipping everything together, and then sending it out via email. Also, supplier collaboration can be improved by better importing of incoming packages. We also separately offer cloud-based project collaboration tools like Autodesk Docs and Meridian Portal. Those systems we offer can actually directly integrate with them. So in the end, you're reducing project delays due to wrong information being out there, and then reducing errors due to contractors and suppliers having incorrect information. And one thing I want to take a quick look at in Vault, which is some capabilities that a lot of people don't know is there. I'm in an electrical folder here in Vault, and these are actually AutoCAD electrical files. With AutoCAD electrical, you have a project file, where a project file kind of links together all of the drawings for an electrical project. And so in Vault, those links are handled similarly to like what you'd have with XREF relationships or references between inventor assemblies, subassemblies, parts, and drawings. So what I'm going to show here would work the same in those situations. But let's say I need to send this electrical project out to a supplier in a transmittal. So I can actually just go to the electrical project file. And of course, I could be going, to an inventor assembly or whatever would work the same, and say I want to do a pack and go, which is the command in Vault for doing this. And you can see it was smart enough to automatically grab all of the drawings that are part of that project. And then also, I've got my Vault configured to generate PDF renditions automatically. So it automatically grabbed the PDF rendition of each DWG. And then I want to create a transmittal report, and I'm going to zip everything up. I can send this, then I can automatically send this via email. I could send it to Autodesk Docs or BIM 360 Docs, Fusion 360, or to SharePoint. So that routing is automatically built in here. And hit OK. It did flag an error that there's a required property missing on this drawing. That's just another feature of Vault. So now if we go here, here is the file I just created, and you can see it packaged everything up. And then the thing I wanted to show here is the transmittal report that was generated. But going to our ROI, I'm just going to focus on rework and scrap. So improving supplier collaboration, the area that I'm looking at is reducing rework and scrap as a result of suppliers getting wrong information. We hear this a lot, is that the wrong drawing got sent out to a supplier to make a repair part. And so I'm looking at both from a project standpoint and a maintenance standpoint. So, say this, $100,000. This is a $100,000 a year annual cost for projects, 50% reduction, and then maybe it's 50% for maintenance, 50% reduction. Oh, excuse me. 50% is due to, so here's our total cost per project. 50% is due to, the wrong information being sent out. Same thing here. And then we'll get a 70% reduction by having a good engineering document management system in place, tying into these annual savings. Just other ROI areas. I mean, it could be, these are just 6 factors I picked out to present. Could be, complete other factors for your operation, especially maybe if you're in discrete manufacturing. So things like, files get lost. So somebody's, got to redraw them or redesign them. You may have multiple facilities and you've got engineers reinventing the wheel at each facility instead of being able to have a system where you can search and see how other plants solve the same problem. Then if you're actually doing collaborative engineering, where engineers or designers working on the same project across multiple sites, multi-site collaboration can have a huge ROI. Streamlining ECO processes, reducing accidents or injuries and related costs due to people working off incorrect information. All of the systems we handle can automatically generate PDFs of drawings and other documents upon release or when they go to review. You could be doing that manually now, which takes time, or could be forgotten, so the PDF doesn't get updated when the drawing or document changes. You could have an ROI there. And then also, you've got some system in place currently, even if it's just a Windows server. Switching to a new system will make the cost of that current system go away. And if I go to my spreadsheet here, if I go out here to the end, you can see some of those tabs I do have in here, but are just zeroed out. Or you may want to take this spreadsheet and make your own tabs for your own particular factors. So now if we start totaling things, at least from my examples, so you can see adding up all of the factors that I calculated and estimated, you can see what kind of total annual savings we're getting in this example. And you can see I've got a nice pie chart showing the relative impact, looking at how that looks out over 3 years as we apply inflation. Also, good ROI analysis has to include what's going to be the outside and the internal cost of this system, both initially and over their full life. So we've got numbers in here for that. Now, I'm just working with 0 for the current system cost. Just leaving that at 0 for now. And then here we can see a summary. In this particular spreadsheet, in order to be conservative, we're saying it's not going to be until the 3rd year until, with learning curve, adoption, optimization, it's really not going to be till the 3rd year that we're getting the full benefit of the system. So 1st year, we're saying we're really only going to get 60%. So again, we're trying to be conservative here. Summary of the cost, and then getting into our annual return, and then our cumulative benefit and our cumulative cost. So you can see, in my example, we got a very good return on investment. And so that pretty much covers everything I had to show. I'm not sure if Ashley mentioned it at the beginning, but anyone who has any questions, you can use our question panel. And we can open that up. At this point, we don't have any questions. I think Ashley's got some wrap-up information. Ashley, if you want to go ahead with that, and then while you're doing that wrap-up info, would give anyone the opportunity to type a question into the panel then.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you, Matt, for the presentation, and thank you, everyone, for attending today. If you do think of questions later, you can simply reply to that confirmation or reminder email you receive from GoToWebinar. We can get those to Matt or your sales rep to get your questions answered. Once again, a short survey will pop up as we close down, and we do thank you for filling that out for us. And also a reminder that tomorrow you should receive an email from us, which will contain a link for the recording of today's presentation that you can watch in a later date then. And I still don't see anything popping in, Matt, so if it's okay with you.
Then, also anyone who wants a copy of this spreadsheet for their own internal calculations can let us know.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, there's nothing further, so we will go ahead and close today, but thank you everyone for attending and have a great day.